everybody knows Rahejas. How does it add value, have its own advantages, or if any cons?
So let's deep dive right into it.
How is today's market of Bandra, Santacruz, Khar in 2026?
Only to realize that Bombay is a different animal. It takes its own time. You gotta be in it to win it.
How do you feel about going on doing developments outside Bandra, Santa Cruz, Khar?
I feel every neighborhood has a high demand for luxury, and that is one of the main reasons Bombay real estate sustains.
Very recently met a broker and his statement was that आज तक ऐसा टाइम देखा ही नहीं है, इतनी तेजी से जो डेवलपमेंट आ रहा है, इतना सप्लाई को डिमांड फुलफिल करने पाने का ताकत है बॉम्बे में कि नहीं. एंड ही वाज वेरी कंफ्यूज्ड.
I think
How do you see construction vertical in the real estate industry? Like, on what model does S Raheja operate?
you can make the most beautiful render in the world, but if you don't actually build it right, and the person sitting inside doesn't get that luxury feeling, there's no point.
100%.
So you tell me a little bit about your history.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speaking Real Estate Podcast. And today with us, we have Mr. Ram Raheja, who is the managing director of S Raheja Realty and is a very high reputed developer in our market of Bandra, Khar, Santa Cruz, and more like an elder brother to me, and has spent more than 15 years in this market. And Ram Bhai, today I'm looking forward to learning a lot of things and did discuss a few things before the podcast with you, but really enjoying with the kind of vibe you are having and also sharing me certain things which are going to be very valuable to me and everyone.
First of all, thank you for the warm introduction. We learn every day. We learn from each other, and we all grow together, my friend.
100%. So how is today's market of Bandra, Santa Cruz, Khar in 2026?
So let's deep dive right into it. It's a very different market. As we were talking a little earlier, I entered the business in 2012. Finished my architecture from Chicago. I was working with Bofill in Barcelona. Then entered this market where I was a young kid hoping to change Bombay skyline.
You are definitely
Uh,
changing.
yeah, so I entered in that market with all that vigor, only to realize that Bombay is a different animal. It takes its own time. You gotta be in it to win it. You gotta. It's through the through this journey of real estate is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We go through phases of sprints within the marathon, but you have to know when to continue the marathon and when to conserve your energy, and when the time is right, go into second gear and push ahead. So I think today we're in a very interesting phase of the market, where we've seen very good times in the last 5 or 6 years, and going ahead, I'm very hopeful that the market will continue and not see any hiccups.
Recently, very recently met a broker. Like, he works regularly with us. So to get an idea about how is the market, how does he feel about the market, his statement was that I have been in the market since 3 decades. And I've seen cycles, ups, downs of the industry. A person being 30 years into a local market is having good experience in terms of how market works. And his statement was that कि कृष मैंने तो आज तक ऐसा टाइम देखा ही नहीं है, इतनी तेजी से जो डेवलपमेंट आ रहा है, इतना सप्लाई को डिमांड फुलफिल करने पाने का ताकत है बॉम्बे में कि नहीं. एंड ही वाज वेरी कंफ्यूज्ड where today during this war situation also too much of supply coming in together also, he himself, who is the king in that particular micro market as a channel partner, is sitting at a like all time low deals in the number of months that are there in the year.
So I think to look at it as quarterly would be a mistake. We work in a project which basically all of us, it takes us at least, it's a 3 year life cycle, right? We can't reflect on the project based on, अच्छा ये अभी ऐसा टाइम आ रहा है या ऐसा टाइम आ रहा है. You as a group have to have the sustenance power to build something that can stand the test of time, you have to be financially close, you have to take closure of your projects and plan accordingly. If you're at a point where you're basically working from quarter to quarter, oh, I will get this sale and then I will get that business, or I will raise this money, then you are going to fall into that cycle, which will eventually lead to your downturn. That has happened in the past many times, as you said. And if you are working in that cycle in any market, eventually is going to lead to a downturn. So you have to be well capitalized. You have to be able to get closure for your projects. You have to be smart about your business. Don't be foolishly bullish. Be intelligent. Um, because this is not a sprint, as I said. It is a marathon. Treat it like a marathon, you won't go wrong. But if you think that, okay, I need to do sales and anyhow in this quarter I have to sell so much stock, and only then will you be able to get that roll in, then you're going to fall into trouble.
100%, 100%.
And every micro market is very, very different. I agree with the fact that we've never seen such supply in Bombay. It's never been there. We've never seen this volume of projects under construction in most micro markets. I will talk more about the micro markets we're in rather than any other. Khar, Bandra, Santacruz, I can say, as we discussed back in 2019, pre-COVID, there were 4 or 5 buildings under construction in the entire H-West market. Right, out of them, couple of them were ours, couple of them were all the players that have been there sustained decades. But the reason why there were only 4 or 5, because there came a time where everybody who came in realized that, you know what, this is not working, and then folded and shut shop. Um, from then to now, it's been only 6 years, right? 2020 to now, it's 6 years. In 6 years, if you just look at the number of developers registered in this micro market, the numbers will completely blow your mind. It's all in 3 digits, from about 4 developers building in that year of 2019 to today, maybe about 200 projects under construction with, say, maybe about 100 plus developers. Um, so that so there is massive supply. Having said that, all the supply is not good supply. So from our perspective and from the market's perspective, we're focused on a luxury market, luxury redevelopment. So the supply that anyway comes into any project is 50% of the project,
Right.
right? If half the building is the old members, next half is the sale. Also, why I say 50% is because the units are much larger. So the numbers of the flats are much lower versus the original units.
Right.
Secondly, the A plus projects will always command a premium. Prime locations will command a premium. Um, there will be certain projects which will go below premium. But again, that is the function of product. Product is the king. Everything else after that. You can have the best brand in the world, but if you're not doing justice to it by building a good product, it's not going to sell. The buyer's too smart today. Back in the day, kuch bhi banao bikta tha, that time is gone. Right? Today, you have to be very, very cautious and have to do your proper R&D when you're actually going to market, to understand what each size requirement is. What works 3 lanes down, there's no guarantee that 3 lanes this side, the same thing's going to work. So you have to be embedded within the micro market to understand lane to lane, project to project, location to location, what actually works.
So, what do you think about in terms of pricing in a particular micro market? Like how we were talking about, like how prices are there in Worli versus how prices are there in Borivali also today.
So today, I don't think luxury is a neighborhood of Bombay is not called luxury. Luxury demand is everywhere in Bombay. Everyone is very, very emotionally driven. A home is an emotional decision. Your neighborhood is your emotion, right? Nobody wants to leave their neighborhood. Someone can make hundreds of crores, but still the person is never going to leave their micro market, whether it's Borivali, whether it's Goregaon, whether it's Andheri Lokhandwala, whether it's Bandra. Even if today, for example, I build maybe the most luxury tower facing the sea on Worli Sea Face, I still am by heart and core a Bandra boy, and I'm not going to leave Bandra for no matter what. So it's not about luxury in a neighborhood. I feel every neighborhood has a high demand for luxury, and that is one of the main reasons Bombay real estate sustains. Right? It's the sense of belonging. It is कि boss ये मेरा area है. My whole infrastructure is here. My ecosystem if you may call it, your entire ecosystem of whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's your kids' schools, whether it's your local club, whether it's your lifestyle that say maybe someone's parents have lived there for last 60 years. If you tell them that, you know what, shift from here to here, we're getting a much better apartment, we're getting a better this, better that, they'll say, boss, mujhe nahi jana hai. This is my home. I want to be in my same ecosystem.
People are very emotionally attached to their location.
Thankfully for all of us.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So so in terms of price correction is what I meant is in terms of where if we go back 5 or 10 years later, 25,000 PSF for Borivali would be the rate for Borivali. Like it wouldn't sell at 50,000 10 years ago.
Right.
But today, Borivali, certain projects which are already been there, matlab built years ago, are also having resale transactions at 65,000, seventy-five
That's
thousand
great.
in Borivali.
That's great.
So I think so. What we can conclude is like there is a luxury demand in every single neighborhood, and your product needs to be that strong to be that particular project in that area.
Correct. Correct. 100%. And the ones that you just mentioned, that even an old building which was built, they did the things right back then to still command a value. That is the difference of a plus real estate and and a B grade real estate, because simply even 10 years down the line, if it holds value and resales to what the market is, that's the whole that would be, say, the golden ticket to real estate, right? That's where you should be invested. That's what you should be striving for.
I think the game is changing to heavily focused local performance in an area with a strong product versus spreading your arms everywhere and not having that focus.
Yes, I think depends on your scale, depends on your ability.
Right.
There are some larger corporates who are able to do that in every micro market.
Fair enough.
But until you reach that stage, I feel it's important to specialize into your expertise and do it right.
How do you feel about going on doing developments outside Bandra Santacruz car?
So we're launching. Launching very soon in Andheri, in Lokhandwala, 7 bungalows right off the coastal road exit. So the selection of the neighborhoods also, and we're negotiating for some plots in South Bombay. So our core focus as Raheja is we're building Western Line along the coastal road, following the infrastructure. Our core focus still remains in the center of it all, which is Khar, Bandra, Santacruz. But we are looking at expanding along the north and south
Bandra.
of our center heart neighborhood.
So the product or the acquisition has to be that good and strong for you to step outside your area.
100%, 100%. So even if we're looking outside our neighborhood, we're looking at, say, it should be one of the most prime plots of that neighborhood, on which you have to again build something more prime, and something that, to understand what that micro market requires and what the local demand supply is in that market.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You have done architecture in your studies, right? When you are going outside through an Raheja building, I do personally feel that this is properly aesthetically designed. Like
Thank you
the
so much.
aesthetic is very much different and it is very much noticeable. So I want you to share your thoughts on that. How do you achieve that?
No, so it's something that we are very passionate about. Um, Planning and the product is the king. As I think I've said before as well, that product is everything, right? The architecture, the look, feel, the aesthetic, the environment that you're building is very, very important to us. I'm personally involved. I have a small OCD problem on the product where I do get over involved, but that's a part of our brand and what we do.
So how can we go back to your education and how was your exposure with your studies in architecture?
Sure. So I studied. So actually, I started with my BCom here. I started working with my dad on sites after my 12th. And I realized I was very interested in the architecture and design aspect of the industry. That's when I realized that in India, because I had done my 11th and 12th in HR, in commerce, I couldn't shift to architecture in India because we have a very intelligent rule that if you've not done science, you can't do architecture, which doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is. So that's when I applied. We had a international school here in Bombay, so I started at Raffles, and then I transferred credits out into I applied in different universities in America, and I finally uh, got into the Art Institute of Chicago, which is the heart of downtown, which was I think one of the best experiences of my life. Moved there, lived there for a few years, graduated. After which went for an internship as a junior architect with Ricardo Bofill, which was again a phenomenal experience in Barcelona. In about 2012 was time and when I think my dad said, Abhi, it's time, come back home. So that's when, and I was also quite ready to come back home and excited to do something different here in Bombay. So that was the journey of how I got into
Design architect.
design architecture. Uh, and looking back, I think it was one of the best decisions. Back then, I would miss a year because I'd already started BCom. Um, and I think it was one of the best decisions not to worry about that year.
Right. So, how much pursuing architecture has added value to your career?
Oh, 100%. I think it's a game changer. I think every developer should specialize within the ecosystem of real estate. If you're looking to be a developer, it's great to be able to specialize within any of the departments that you are personally passionate on, and then have a overall macro view of the business. Because that honestly, whatever that department may be and whatever you're passionate about gives you that edge. For example, with you, I can tell is marketing that you are doing, and I'm sure it's going to give you a great edge in your business that you're doing. So I feel everything. So there are so many sectors that play within real estate, right? Whether it's the licensing, whether it's the finance, whether it's the core construction, whether it's the management, whether it's the engineering, whether it's the architecture, whether it's the interior, whether it's the graphic, whether it's the marketing, and the sales in the end. So we run through an entire spectrum of specializations um, within the head of real estate and that one building, right? So I think it's very important to because that's when to follow what you're passionate about within all that, and then be at the helm of it, because it will honestly give you a edge in whichever that department is, and that will eventually build your brand.
So, having edge over one particular thing, how do you balance out the other things?
Work harder on those because it's important.
Right.
It's important to work harder on those, and to be able to not push yourself only towards architecture, and to also spend more time in finance, more time in execution and other things. I mean, yeah, the part that is like you're passionate about comes easy to you, right? It doesn't feel like work. It feels like this thing, but there are some things that basically you might not be so excited to do, but that is where you have to work harder, because that's what the difference is, right?
Everything has to balance out. Like
Yeah,
having edge over
everything
something is definitely an advantage, but lacking another is a big
is
con.
completely it's completely the what would you say? It can be your Achilles heel.
Any area you want to mention that you would want to spend least time in that area?
Nothing like that. I'm actually I've spent a lot of time with my society acquisitions. That has been a lot of work that I've been doing personally, and I feel that is the start of everything. Now, within that acquisition, we have to deal with, from your approvals to your people in the society to your product to the architecture to the whole gamut. And now I think I enjoy most of it.
I think so. Two things where I think so is very difficult to delegate and when and come out of that to scale. Please correct me, and I want to know your opinion on that. Is BD and approvals?
So that is something which is not 100% in your hands, right? That's something which you are eventually dependent on your regulatory authorities. Um, we all of us, we eventually have to follow the rule book in terms of your entire DCPR, your regulations, which have so many different facets, that yeah, it's something which we have to be involved personally. And if you're not involved personally in that, I feel there will be a time when you will miss something.
So definitely agreeing with you, and we also go through something like that, definitely. But on the other side, it takes up a certain bandwidth into operational
100%.
activities. So
100%.
how do you think about, if you had to delegate, then how would you do it?
So delegation to the right professionals is great. Getting the right teams, um, getting the right teams, but also managing your time efficiently. I think is the golden grail of real estate, right? You have to manage the time
100%.
and also take time out for yourself mentally. I feel if you don't do that, you'll not be able to attend to too many things. Take time out for your family, take time out for your own mental self, and other than that, if you're able to do that, I think the other get right professionals on board and get them to report weekly meetings, weekly sign
Reviews,
offs
yeah.
is, I think, very important. I mean, I'm not an expert at delegation. I'm not going to pretend to be. Um, I'm trying, I'm learning every day. As we scale, we're trying to delegate and we're trying to grow faster.
How easy or hard do you find to build a team in a certain area of the organization today?
In every area is difficult. In every area, I wouldn't say it's easy at all, because one, if you're passionate about what you're doing and everything is so close to your heart, to let go is hard, right? But it is the only way you can grow. Because if you're going to try to do everything, you can't grow.
How is the industry in terms of hiring?
Hiring is hard to get the right talent, but more and more professionals are entering real estate. I feel starting back when joined the industry in 2012 to now, I think it's been a very very positive change. A lot of young professionals, a lot of people who are highly qualified, well educated, have pursued real estate as their core focus, and that has been a very positive change.
So my question regarding hiring is that today, like, since it's been very less time for me to take care of certain thing all by myself, and only way out I see is that the person who has been hired and has joined the team needs to take like full responsibility and accountability. Let's say example, a head of a particular department, and have you went through something like that? You have appointed that head and he is not able to fill that shoes, so you will have to fill those spaces. So has it continued in that same way, or have you taken an action in terms of getting the right person if those
So
shoes are not filled?
yeah, you have to make change.
How quickly you
You
take
can't.
that decision?
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, because whole team's sentiment is
Yes, yes.
attached to
It's
that particular.
hard. It's hard. You have to give them enough time, first and foremost, um, because maybe there was some communication gap. Maybe you have to give them the benefit of the doubt first,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
But if it is a repeated mistake
How
and
much time would you take, Rambai?
I don't know, yeah.
Case to case, very
It,
subjective.
it, it it's very subjective, department to department, case to case. Um, but having said that, you must act fast. I think we should have personally. This is what I hope to achieve: is a three strike rule. Right? I'll give you one chance. I'll give you a second, and if you do it for the third time, then I don't think you should be
Because
doing
I
it.
believe because it is definitely hard, and I'm pretty sure that we are not that kind of people ki aao nahi samajh mein aa raha hai, just go and you are fired. Like, we are not that kind of people.
No, but and that's not the ecosystem that we're building as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. So we need to take people along with it. But the loss that is there in terms of that time which is went, which is few months, is a lot to take up.
A lot, and
And
it's a
that
lot.
time your bandwidth is getting involved into that particular thing where you need to strategize and can strategize in much more better areas which can
Definitely, grow the company. Definitely. So I think, yeah, three strike rule.
three strike rule, something to learn
Once,
definitely.
twice, and then if third time also is not working, you got to move on.
So
Sensitively, of course.
got it. So okay, recently saw the beautiful collab of yours on anti-gravity.
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, it looked like perfect collab. Like, if I would want to do something in fitness or something, it would be the kind of collaboration I would look up to. So knowing, and I think so you are into fitness.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is
I think it's a lifestyle. I think it's a lifestyle that we all should be in. Whether it's a sport, whether it's um, running, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's high rocks, whether it's Pilates, you gotta know what your passion is towards, and you must do it.
what sport do you play?
I play paddle and cricket.
Okay.
I've played cricket my whole life, from school to college to club. a lot of fun. And recently, in the last couple of years, I've got involved into a lot of paddle. Yeah, and I love to play any sport. Uh, it's fun. I mean, in my free time, that would be my ideal time would be to play a good sport.
Definitely.
It's meditative personally, and it's where you can take out uh, all the anger and frustration and then still be calm.
What frequency do you play sports in a week?
Twice or thrice a week.
You make sure you play that
I
much.
make sure for that. Yeah, I don't compromise that.
It helps.
Yeah, 100%. I feel it just balances me as a human being.
100%. So
You're also into running. You told me on Sunday you had gone with your brothers for a nice run.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. You have to find what you love.
No, I think so. It helps a lot in terms of getting something, because during that time it's very difficult that you get any thought of work. Definitely, if something that stressful is there, it will get into the way. But getting those 1 hour, 2 hours of the day outside from that work where you are not at all thinking about anything and just playing.
It's all the difference. I think that in the day I'm know there's sports that evening, I wake up with a different spring in my step.
No, no, 100%. Like it brings a change. If like you are not doing any sports and you start right now,
Definitely.
it will bring a
Definitely. I
change
would
into.
highly recommend it to everybody listening.
Looking forward to playing paddle with you.
Anytime.
100%. So you have went through a cycle of ups and downs in terms of having been in the industry for more than 15 years. You have seen a low, you have seen a high, and now
Yeah,
also
we
you are
sing.
experiencing something. Like everyone is experiencing a certain cycle, a moment in the cycle. So if we can, like, you have went through GST, demonetization, multiple COVID. How has been the journey during those times? Like all of those things came up during within a period of 5 years, where every time it was a huge hit to the industry,
Right.
and it's not easy to grow in that time period for anyone.
Correct. But yeah, so a very good question. Like we all have been through cycles, right? This whole industry has been through different cycles, and the ones that survive cycles and through. So you got to be in it to win it. You gotta you gotta take the whole journey as a fact that it's not only about the bottom line. There will be great times where you'll make fantastic bottom lines. There will be great times where you might not make that bottom line. But as a brand, it's important that you still deliver that product. Your clients are important before everything else. Before the bottom line, it is the product. So my thought would be um, purely on the fact that irrespective of profit or loss, deliver the best product, and eventually you'll run the cycle where days where you'll make a great return. There are days you might not make a great return, but your brand has to sustain and your product is everything.
So you just have to deliver your commitment during those
No
times.
matter what, no matter what, there is no excuse for not delivering a commitment.
How does it feel personally when like you're being through a cycle, and it's not like a cycle of a quarter or a time period where you'll just pass from that time period? Like if you are getting injured, let's say someone is getting fractured, he's on time, like on bed for a period of 3 months to 6 months, but not more than that, and eventually 6 months is a bearable time period. But let's say this cycle of real estate goes for up to 5 years. 5 years of patience is a lot for somebody to, like, if someone is putting in his time day in, day out, and the same thing is going on for 5 years, 8 years, how does a person mentally feel? Like not growing or whatever it is, just
So
general
everyone
situation.
will deal with it their own way, right? Everyone has their own ways of dealing with these emotions. Whether it's hard work that is not paying off. Um, as I said, it's a very personal thing where as long as you see a finish line at the end of it, you know that there will come an up, right? Even though you're going through the industry is going through a cycle, there will come that cycle where you will make that swing. So as long as you could get decent project financial closures, take the right decisions, um, don't don't lose hope
Right.
is what I would say. Eventually, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
So I think so taking the right decisions
Is critical.
is the answer out of that whole period of
Yeah,
downturn.
you gotta know when to do what.
Like, and that right decisions is every small decision from acquisition, planning, sales,
Yes, definitely,
approvals on time, delivery,
definitely,
construction.
definitely.
How do you see construction vertical in the real estate industry? Like, on what model does SRIs operate?
So typically, we've been doing smaller sites. We've been doing all in house in terms of from acquisition to just labor contracts, all from the steel, cement, concrete. Everything is procured by us and given to our contractors on labor. But now, in the last few years, we've moved to much larger sites. So those now we're giving to professional contractors with material. So we're also in that transition phase where we've made that shift. We've also done buildings in complete aluminum shuttering, although they were not needed to be done in aluminum shuttering. We didn't need repetition of scale to do the economics of scale, but purely from the build quality and the detailing point of view, we said, let's do that. So the construction part of it is very critical. It's very important. Um, the detailing and the quality is something that must be looked into, and because eventually you can make the most beautiful render in the world, but if you don't actually build it right, and the person sitting inside doesn't get that luxury feeling, there's no point.
100%. So you have done work on labor contracting since yours, I believe,
Yeah,
in small sized projects.
smaller size projects.
So
Yes.
now, when you talk about scale, what is the scale? And like, still, RMC steel might be in your procurement
Yeah.
strategy, and other all things, materials, everything into contractor scope.
Yeah, we're eventually going towards that. Every site is different. But for example, now we're launching about 3 or 4 sites that are about 2-3 lakh square feet each. So about, if there's 3 lakh into like 4 sites, that becomes about 12 lakh square feet. That we're going to be launching soon. So there we're looking to create structures and create verticals where basically each project is looked after as an entity in itself, which basically we give a contract to a professional contractor which will run the entire show and report. But we have to have very strong quality checks. The fear of doing that is there should never be a compromise in quality. Pay more and smile. Don't try to cut the corner on the contractor's rate. You tell him, you charge me a little more, but give me the quality that I'm expecting.
So why this shift from because definitely doing it on labor saves some
Yeah,
money,
scalability, purely from the fact that we're one, entering new geographies. Two, we're growing in scale. Typically, these buildings that we were doing earlier were all single towers or maybe a little larger towers in this area. Now we go into much larger size of projects. So I feel it's not feasible for us to reach everywhere.
right?
So from the delegation point of view, that we rather delegate and oversee it than be involved in the smaller aspects of that.
I think so, beautifully answered. Like, clearly फोकस इज डिफाइंड कि मतलब जहाँ पर ध्यान देना है देना, जहाँ पर नहीं देना है ध्यान और टेंशन नहीं लेना है, और वी नीड द प्रोग्रेस एट द सेम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम.
And it's mentally a shift, right? When you're so used to making sure that every product is purchased in house and you're pulling rates on everything, but
Right,
it has to be a mental shift that if you want to go into a different scale, you have to learn to delegate certain part of the business.
right, right. I think so, beautiful. Talking about like now the local market, Bandra Khar, how does sales work in this market? I believe you are the best person to explain it
No, no, nothing like that.
because you
Everyone,
command a premium.
everyone's an expert in our industry.
नो नो सो अब बोरीवली में माल बेचना होगा तो एक अलग बात हो गया, एक बांद्रा में माल बेचना है तो अलग बात हो गया, एक मलाबार में माल बेचना है या फोर्ट एक्सेट्रा. लाइक एवरी डिफरेंट मार्केट हैज इट्स डिफरेंट सेट ऑफ कस्टमर्स, एंड यू हैव बिल्ट अ किंगडम out here in these local markets, so you understand the consumer the best than compared to other players who have recently entered the market.
Right. So thank you for your kind word first. I would say that one of the main reasons why being a local person who's grown up in this area, who's lived over here, who's seen real estate around him his whole life, it is given us an insight on what the local demand supply is, right, and what each one is interested in. And also, I think it's very important for the promoter to sit in the sales meetings. Only then you understand that what is needed, what is not needed. Um, Maybe in the first few buildings you did this, maybe that didn't work, but every building is an evolution and you learn, right? So it's important to understand the consumer, because the consumer today is extremely smart. Also, we do a lot of research in terms of, for example, if we build a building with, say, 10 amenities, right? Let's go back to the drawing board and see 3 years later, with our facility managers that we put into place, what are the 10 amenities, what are out of them, what is actually being used, what's not really being used, which becomes a burden for maintenance of a society, which actually is being used, say, by 5% instead of 95%. So I think it's very important to actually go into that finer detailing of um, what it is that the product can get maximum use of for the buyer. And also, in terms of, there are certain checklists for luxury that cannot be compromised, right? um, we at as Raheja in the recent years have stopped doing single size developments, in terms of we're not doing anything below a certain square meter. One of the main reasons for that is you're not able to build that product that is needed in the area.
Yeah, right.
You're not able to build proper ramp parking, single parkings. Typically, most of our luxury buyers have cars today between 50 lakhs to 2 crores. You want your car parked properly. You want space. You want someone to wash the car in the morning. In an automated parking tower, all those things are not possible. Space is a luxury, right? So to be able to build ample amenities, but just enough amenities that is not overburden for the redevelopment also, because there are old members as well in that building.
There is a cost of maintenance
There's
to
a
those.
cost of maintenance, so it's well maintained and sustains the test of time. And yet enough amenities that are actually needed for your luxury buyer. So things like a massive gym. I think this 4% move is fabulous for all of us. That we're able to, from 2%, move the amenity space to 4%. It's going to be a game changer in terms of better lifestyle and better amenities. But where can you use them if you don't have a plot big enough to put them? Right? You need space. You need space to build. Internal height is one of them. So we make sure that things like we have a checklist that if those 5 things can't fit in my fitment, I'm not interested in even bidding for this tender. So when our BD team goes in and bids for a project, we do a checklist that, you know what, can we fit a ramp? Can we fit single parkings? Can we do good amenities, decent size plot? Can we give great internal height? Because again, we're very close to a funnel and the airport over here. So we don't have unlimited height like the way, say, a Borivali or a South Bombay would have. So until all those things can't be done, we typically don't venture into that project, because product is everything.
No, beautiful.
We're not trying to sell a dream, we're selling the product. So I would say there's no other cheat code to sales. Build a good product, it will sell.
I think so. A very great advantage or upside that you have is that you are being involved in sales deals makes you completely aware what is the requirement.
Yes, I think that's very important.
That's a very, very big edge, because if the right information sometime is being missed in terms of building that right thing into the product, because you can learn from every single deal
Definitely. We learn
and
every day.
incorporate it quickly into all the projects are also that are going live. So if at times, if that decision maker is not in those meetings and that information or feedback is not passed through the right channels to the right person, you miss on to that upside. S. Raheja, a legacy of Raheja is one set history and talks today also in the industry where everybody knows Rahejas.
Yes.
How does it add value, have its own advantages, or if any cons at all?
No, so it's honestly it's the most phenomenal brand value that we have the responsibility of continuing.
Right.
It's very important that all of us continue the brand uh, and deliver quality and continue the way, the advantage that we have got from our forefathers, fathers, uncles. Everyone has grown in their own right in a wonderful way and has continued to do great work. The group, the original four grandfathers came down in partition from Karachi, um, started the group Raheja Brothers for about 15, 20 years, all were together. Eventually now My dad, I think there are 16 first cousin men, and there are 7, 8 groups
16
coming.
first cousins.
Yeah, and now the 7, 8 groups coming out of that. Then we all third generation now. So for us, I think it's a great honor to be a part of the original legacy of my grandfather and his brothers.
I think so. The most respectable thing out there is that everybody is maintaining the legacy that is there.
Yes, it's wonderful. Everyone's doing a great
That's
job.
what, like, nobody is defaulting into the kind of brand name and legacy that is built.
Yes,
So
yes.
that is something really to look up to, because definitely having partitions or separations in today's time, it's very much there. Depends on
Yeah.
different families, different structures, different mindsets. So it's nothing bad or anything in that. But to maintain that also is a very big achievement, which people have not been able to keep up with.
No, I think touch wood. I think everyone's doing a very good job.
No, no, 100%. So, Rambai, 5 years, 10 years down the line, like, still S Reja will be like a Bandra boy kind of version, or you see a world outside that.
No, definitely. We're expanding into different geographies as well. We will be doing projects across the western coast. We will continue in the luxury space of real estate, because I think that's what we're passionate about, and that's where our core focus lies. We're doing some interesting commercial developments as well, some ventures into hospitality as well. So I think going ahead, building lifestyle along with our developments is very important, and to create that brand across geographies and different micro markets will be very interesting, and we will hopefully be able to achieve that.
So, you spoke about like continuing the luxury development that the group does. So, what if some location where the demand is not of luxury, and you can outperform and maybe perform better with a product which is maybe in another segment, another area, in terms of the positioning or the kind of supply that the project brings in? Will you still be open to do that?
So it depends. It depends. When I say luxury, I mean luxury in terms of a product, not in terms of a square foot. Whether we're in New York, London, Singapore, studio apartments are also selling at per square feet luxury rates. So I would be excited to do a nice studio apartment building somewhere in the heart of Bombay, because why not? And that also could be luxurious. So when I say luxury, I don't mean only large square foot. I mean in terms of premium product. So I think the demand for premium product, no matter what scale, is always there. So I would definitely be excited to do something like that. Um, so you tell me a little bit about your history.
So, the business was started by father in real estate. Before that, he was into textiles. So 2009-10 is when he entered the business, having no idea, education, anything about real estate. Like, still
Wow, nice, very interesting.
having, like, our family had a very good goodwill in Daulat Nagar, which is in Borivali East. People knew that this is the family into textiles business, very well sound ethic with ethics, and that is training down from the grandfather. So before even Rera came in, like, the way and quality of work ethic was somewhere where everything was very clean. So even though if Rera came, flower bud went outside of the system and everything, but not a huge difference in terms of how we would operate in the business. So 2009-10, when dad started learning about the business, started with like small sized redevelopment projects, because when he entered the business, it was from a hit from another industry, another business where he had faced certain losses. So it was not somewhere where we were coming up with a land bank or a cash rich bank account where we could easily just enter the industry and perform, like how today corporates are ending up into the industry with their whole bank account and easily doing 50-story acres of development. So started up very small in Daulat Nagar, starting with a redevelopment of a 2-3 building into a 7-story building. But that is there in dad, which was, it was the first building not aware of construction approval, anything at all, but still demolished and built that building in 11 months
Amazing.
during that time. So been 15 years right now, completing 60
Right, I must congratulate you all. You're doing some very good work in your micro market, and coming into our micro market also doing some good work. So congratulations on that to you and dad and everyone at home.
We look up to you. Like, definitely, it's you plus two, three other brands in this particular
Very
micro
kind
market.
of you to say. Is nothing looking
No,
up.
no, definitely. I've heard from dad himself. Like, he is always like very fascinated about the kind of design that your building does.
Thank you, thank you. Really appreciate.
So it it's something to look up to. So, and there is a different requirement also into this market with terms of what the want of people in Borivali is very different versus the want that people would want to have here. So it's a different execution in itself, apart from approvals to sales and everything, but execution also is very different. So we coming up with a project in Khar versus you coming up onto that same project, if it would have been in your kitty, it would be a difference in terms of the sale rates and everything, definitely.
No, no, I appreciate your kind words, but you guys are also establishing very well, and I think it's going to be good times for all of us ahead.
100%, 100%. So I think so. We'll be learning from you. We'll keep ringing your calls.
No, no, thank you so much for this. It's been it's a great time here. Good, interesting conversation.
No, no, thank you, Rambhai. I think so. Thank you so much.
Great.
Yes.